Drink it in, man.
Deep left side carry on. Picks on the block. At the 5. At the 2. At the 1 to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions.
Drink it in, man.
Get up, Stafford throws. It is end zone. Caught! Oh, baby, what a catch! Kenny Galladay, you're a freak! What a catch! Touchdown, Detroit Lions!
Cornbread! I love the Lions! Say it with me! I love the Lions!
Drink it in, man.
Welcome to the Detroit Koolaid, everybody. It's Friday, and this is Griffin coming at you. I'm going solo here today, but as always, though, with it being Friday, you know that you're going to hear the weather report. Oh, winter's finally here in Michigan. It's been here for a few weeks now, ever since, pretty much the Christmas holiday. We've got some snow on the ground, and now the chill's starting to set in. Oh, gosh, it's going to be cold this weekend. We're looking at like the high 20s, low 30s, and at night it's down into the teens. Means everybody's going to have their electric blankets on them, be cuddled up in a lot of, other blankets, and making sure they got their warm jammies on, for dinner, especially watching the games this weekend. I'm going to use chili, because we've been eating chili enough already. You're going to be looking at other things you're going to be wanting, man. If you're looking for that nice warm beef stew or something like that, you're going to want to have some hearty meals this weekend. Maybe some good old-fashioned comfort food like some meatloaf and potatoes with some gravy on it. Of course, man, it's going to be a great weekend watching the playoffs. Too bad our favorite team, the Lions, aren't in there. But, sit back. Got 6 games going this weekend, 3 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. But, it's Friday here, so TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. So the first thing I want to start on, I'm sure everybody, had an opinion on this, but what happened with that roughing the passer call? I mean, I'm sure NFL referees have a very difficult job, a lot of fast-paced action. There's a lot of rule changes that they always have to monitor, but still it seems like the Lions always kind of get jobbed on these, these calls like this. Looked like Tracy Walker, who hasn't really shown up a whole lot this year, but decided, to show up in the last game, had this great sack on a 4th down that would have stopped, the Vikings from going in to score. Just your basic, I don't want to say harmless sack, but, it wasn't even that really hard of hit. He just kind of, tackled him and was going down to the ground, and even at points it looks like he's trying to roll off. But, no, obviously the referee saw it differently, that he was using his full force, tackling the ever-great protected Kirk Cousins. It's just, you gave him a 1st down. And, a couple plays later, they actually stopped 1st down again, but then after that, quarterback sneak, Cousins goes in, he does a little crap dance, because everybody knows how I feel about Kirk Cousins. The guy's still a crap quarterback. I knew they threw some stats up during the game, and then, since, 5 years ago, he's he's in the top 5 of all, these different stats or whatever, but, yeah, okay, he still sucks, though, okay? But still, I don't know what the referee was looking at right there. Are you kidding me? And then later in the game, they call the non-touchdown touchdown that Marvin Jones had. It's it bounced off the ground. When the replay shows, first of all, you can't even really tell, and even the announcers of the game well, it looks like it bounced off his arm and went up when his arm hit the ground. But no, referees and then whoever New York, whoever they call during the game, they saw it differently. Oh, it went off the ground. Yeah, the Lions did go in and score, so I don't know if it mattered per se, but it makes you wonder, what are they looking at? And I know in the past, the NFL has tried to make NFL referees full-time, much like they do in the other major sports where, there's obviously a lot more games and there's a lot more travel in between. And the NFL referees have naturally fought it because they all got day jobs, lawyers or engineers or whatever it is they do. They obviously have well-paying jobs, other spots that their jobs allow them to, oh, wait, you got to fly out on Thursday to go to Dallas to do the Cowboys-Washington, football team game? Yeah, sure, no problem. I mean, yeah, none of these guys are, greeters at Walmart, or they're not working, the drive-through at a McDonald's or Burger King or something like that. They obviously have well-paying jobs that they want to keep, and they still want to get paid a nice sum of change by the NFL and be on TV on Sundays, obviously, especially if you're a head referee having to do all the calls. But still, how come they can't become full-time employees and, obviously watch video and kind of bounce more ideas off each other so you won't have calls like this? yeah, I had this argument with my friend through my friends through text. It's just like it doesn't matter. We wanted the Lions to lose anyways. They get the better draft pick. They have the seventh pick. I agree. I'm not sad that the Lions lost. I'm more sad at the call. I mean, it's just like, come on, what are you doing? It's just it was a basic sack. It wasn't that bad at all. When, pretty much everybody in America, other teams like, guys, was it Terrell Crosby was sitting at home injured, tweets like, what? I mean, come on, it's basic. Come on, NFL referees, you guys are supposed to be the best of the best. And still, it's just, you have calls like this that leaves people scratching their heads. How come there's no fines or something like that? Oh yeah, they get laid off, or not laid off, but hey, you can't do playoff games, you don't get called to do other things. I mean, really, what happens to these guys? Nothing. I mean, as Lions fans, we see plenty of bad calls, against Lions year after year. But yeah, they're out there next Sunday, calling another, game, that could be, obviously playoff altering or season altering for a team, and they have calls like this on a sack. I mean, really, I mean, and people like make fun of me saying, hey, it's just like, oh, no conspiracy, oh, the NFL really doesn't care. But then, was it a couple weeks ago when Tennessee was in Green Bay? They show like Aaron Jones running the ball, and he has a foot clearly out of bounds. I mean, it's not on the sideline. No, it's like clearly stepped on the white line out of bounds. And the referee's staring right at him, and he lets it go. And yeah, Green Bay kicked the crap out of Tennessee, and that play didn't matter. But still, it was like another 30 yards on the run that Aaron Jones got. But refs, what are you looking at? Are you guys just mailing in at this point in the season? I mean, even season, it seems like at Game 5 during the season, you guys are making crappy calls like this. But yet, yeah, neither team had anything to play for here. And, I had some people, saying to me, Mike, where's the conspiracy? You should have the conspiracy music going. Maybe it was Sheila Ford Hamp, calling the referees saying, hey, we want to lose this game to get the better draft pick, simply because they only have 5 draft picks this year, so they want as high as picks as they can get. Maybe she called and said, hey, make sure we don't win this. And I guess I never looked at it that way. Maybe I just always thought it was the NFL that had it out to, screw over the Lions. But no, maybe this particular game, their team owner really wanted them to lose so bad, that she actually called like, hey, it doesn't matter. Just make sure we lose, and you get calls like this. So I know I'm just joking with that. Team owners don't want your team to lose, and, and coaches, everybody can, I guess, you can debate that. I mean, I guess if you saw the Washington football team Philadelphia Eagles game Sunday night where, Jalen Hurts is playing, he's not playing a terrible game. He's having a decent game against Washington, and all of a sudden in the fourth quarter when Philadelphia's down by 3, they pull Hurts to put in Sudfeld because Doug Peterson's like, well, I thought he should get some snaps. I thought it was time to see what he could do. This isn't Little League, buddy. You don't have to have rules like that. Obviously, you guys were trying to throw the game to keep your draft pick, and now your whole team sees it, and you're going to lose your team next year because of it. So us in Detroit, we've seen it before where teams have pretty much turned on their coach this year. But you can try to lose games, or you can have the refs help you out. I've seen the joke 100 times that it's always Detroit versus the refs and the other team, and just calls like this, roughing the passer call on Tracy Walker, is just kind of, it just once again always leads me to believe that, yeah, the NFL has it out for Detroit, and they really don't care about Detroit or the fans or the team. It doesn't matter either way. So that's my take on that. I'm sure you feel, you have something on it. If how you guys feel about referees, hit me up on Twitter at GrifkaDKC. I'd like to hear from you guys and respond, and see what you guys think about the referees, because as always, I still think the referees do get a little bit of direction from the higher ups, because the NFL is an entertainment sport. Like I said, with this, the season is finally over. We can put this behind us. Hopefully, me and Derek discussed it. What's this season going to be known for? COVID, no fans, bad players, just going to be regular. But at least we can look forward to the future. I mean, they're bringing in plenty of, guys to interview. There's, all the talk, I know me and Derek, you guys have heard how we feel about Matt Stafford. I say just, fine, trade him, eat the salary cap, hit. You're just going to have to live with it. This team has, roughly, like $10 million in salary cap money right now, and they only have 5 draft picks. So, obviously, there are going to be some cap casualties. There's a few guys out there that, could have seen besides Matt Stafford, seen their last, playing, for Detroit, guys that they could get rid of where the salary cap hit's not terrible, but could give them some more space to try to rebuild this team, because there obviously a lot needs to be changed on this team. But can we say the season was enjoyable? Did we see the team improve under Darrell Bevell? Was it playing harder for Darrell Bevell? I believe they were. The defense, was still pretty crappy. I mean, I thought probably one of the better games they played. There were a few games where the defense did kind of show up, but lately, at this point in the season, I mean, the defense, it looked like they were trying hard. They were just kind of, at first part of the game, I mean, it looks like they were showing a lot more blitzes. They were bringing the pressure, doing a lot, and then it seemed like later in the game they kind of backed off on that. Kirk Cousins got a little more comfortable, had a little more time to throw the ball, and it just, obviously we saw how the game turned out, with another loss, but still, the team seemed to play a little harder for Darrell Bevell. I mean, I'm not pining for this guy to be the head coach. I think there's other candidates out there. People are like, oh, maybe they can bring Darrell Bevell back as an offensive coordinator. I'm not for sure how he would feel about that. Simply because, I mean, yeah, you were the offensive coordinator, and then you were the interim head coach, so you did have the the keys of the car, at least for 5 games, and then they're gonna oh, hey, we want you back, but not as the head coach, just as the offense coordinator. Are you cool with this? I mean, so once again, I'm not for sure how people feel about that, but yeah, it'd be nice to keep him around as offense coordinator. I thought the offense did some good things if they have a coach to kind of take the shackles off them. I always thought Matt Pat kind of kept him under wraps a little bit, kind of did what he wanted him to do, where Darrell Bevell wasn't given the autonomy to run the offense how he would like. So this season's going to be, remembered for a lot of things, but I guess it's just nice that it's on, that the season's over and the playoffs are here, and I know Derek mentioned watch some good football, but have you seen some of these games? Like some of these teams that are in the playoffs. I mean, the Bears made it. I mean, hey, we beat 2 playoff teams. We beat Washington and we beat and the Chicago Bears in Chicago's building. So hey, Lions got 2 victories against playoff teams. Nice job, Detroit. But still, I mean, there are going to be some decent playoff games this weekend. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing, the Tampa Bay Washington game. I'm interested to see what Tom Brady will do, or how he'll react to Chase Young as he was run off the field after the rousing victory against the tanking Philadelphia Eagles. How he's like, I want Tom, bring on Tom. Well, I'm sure a lot of people always want to face the best. And, as Ric Flair said, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Woo! So, I don't know, Chase Young, if you guys, Chase Young had a good year, good to great year. You really did. Your defense is probably the best thing about that team. But still, I mean, Tom Brady, he knows how to win playoff games, and you guys are young, and your coach is actually thinking about rotating quarterbacks. So it makes you kind of wonder, really. I mean, so I don't see that happening. But still, I think there's going to be some good football games to watch this weekend. The Sunday night game is Pittsburgh and Cleveland. And Cleveland, their head coach just tested positive for COVID, so not sure if he'll be able to coach, or if he'll be, off in a room somewhere trying to make calls or something like that. I don't know. But still, I mean, playoffs are here, and hopefully next year, everybody's thinking it's going to be a rebuilding year. Adrian Peterson said, I've seen different things with Adrian Peterson. He's like, oh, I don't want to come back to Detroit. Oh, I do want to come back to Detroit. I only want to come back to Detroit, if they're going to go for it. I'm not ready for a rebuild. I want to win championships. I totally see his point of view. I really do. But it's funny which headline you read, where you're reading it, because, like I know Derek busts on me for Lions 24/7, but I see him. It's like Adrian Peterson wants to come back to Detroit, and then you read other outlets are like Adrian Peterson, ready to leave Detroit, and it's just, I guess it depends on who's reading it, who's writing it, and who's reading it, which way you're going to look at that. So, just part of the season that there's points where I know we were really happy with Adrian Peterson, how he looked, but then there were points he kind of disappeared, and then he would come back. And me and Derek, we talked about this on a prior show. He's good for his leadership. Yeah, his PFF number wasn't that great. And don't get me wrong, I don't put a lot of stock in PFF, or Derek puts more in it. But, Adrian Peterson, your PFF rating, not that great. But yeah, here for his leadership, show the guys how to play. I think that's a good thing for this team, especially if they're actually going to kind of go for it. But at this point, you got to bring in the coach, the GM. At that point, they'll make the decision. How they're going to go about it. It seems like I'm reading a lot of stuff right now, besides on Lions 24/7, other things. It seems like they're pointing towards bringing Matt Stafford back, which, once again, how can you assume that without a coach or GM? I mean, at that point, then your ownership's pretty much telling you, yeah, you're keeping him. Even if the GM and the coach want to come in and go in a different direction, the president and whoever's going, oh yeah, by the way, you're keeping Matt Stafford. What if they're like, well, no, we really want to draft X quarterback and we want to start him from day one? Well, no, you can't do that. You're going to have Matt Stafford for at least, the rest of his contract, 2 years, unless he retires. Well, then once again, you're just kind of hamstringing the guys that are coming in. So I don't know how these articles can come out saying, yeah, Matt Stafford's going to be here. There's stuff pointing towards that he's going to be here next year, considering the people that put the team together and coach the team are not in place to make that decision. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know. It's, more stuff. I think it's just people looking to write stuff, thinking they know more about it than what they really do or acting like they do. So we'll see what comes about. Obviously, like I said, cap space, there's some, not a whole lot, few draft picks. Probably guys that are going to be, obviously salary cap casualties on this, from this team, just trying to get some more space to go on, sign some more guys to try to look to definitely improve this defense. I know everybody's heard before who we'd look to keep, who we'd look to build around in that defense. So obviously they need to bring in some other things as well. So they definitely have to get some more cap space for that. And they need to bring in some more hard hitters, guys on that defense that can hit. Former Lions great Benny Blades, which Derek was nice enough to invite me to the Believe in Lions podcast last week. Give it a listen. It's a great show. I was able to talk to one of my heroes, of one of my Lions' favorite players of all time. I loved watching Benny Blades play, even when he was at the U. Give it a listen. It's a great podcast. Derek does a great job. Benny Blades, insightful. He's funny. He's got some great stories. Him and Derek just go back and forth at it, much like how me and Derek do on this show as well. So give it a listen. Derek's gonna run a little ad here for you to let you know where you can find it. But after that, I'll be right back, and we'll continue this Friday show.
What's going on, everybody? This is your host, Derek Oakrey of the Detroit Koolaid Cast, and this is normally where I tell you about some of our great sponsors. But today, I want to tell you about my other Lions podcast. It's called Believe in Lions, and that's spelled BLEAV on the Believe Podcasting Network, with both myself and Lions legendary safety Benny Blades. Yeah, you know who he is, the hard-hitting safety Benny Blades. Played for the Lions. He also played for the U. You know what it is, the University of Miami, those Miami Hurricanes. He mentions it multiple times a show. Benny loves to talk about his Hurricanes, his Lions, and I love to play this soundbite on the show. We have a ton of fun on that show. We laugh, we joke, we talk Lions. Like I said, he brings up the Hurricanes. I talk about my Michigan Wolverines. It's a really fun show. Benny loves the Lions. He tells great stories from his playing days, as well as we're just rooting on this team. We BLEAV in the Lions. So please go ahead, find it on your favorite podcast platform. Hit that subscribe button and check it out. Share it with a friend. We really appreciate it. So check out Believe, BLEAV in Lions, with myself and Benny Blades. Thank you guys so much.
Everybody, once again, this is Griff coming at you on a Friday. You're listening to the Detroit Koolaid. Ding, Derek, that's for you, because I know you love it when I say that. But once again, feel free, hit me up on Twitter at GriffGoodDKC, or if feel free to call or text at 989-272-3484. Once again, 989-272-3484. Text us something that's good. We'll put it on the show, a question for us. We'd love to hear, especially who you guys believe who the next coach or GM could be of this team. Once again, Lions are looking, did the changeover, looking to start fresh again. So we'd love to hear from you who you guys think that the Lions are looking to get. Either way, they've a lot of names, there's a lot of people that they've looked at, but they're going to have to do a lot of retooling on this team. And once again, that leads me to one of my favorite things to do. I usually do it at the quarter pole, and I've done it at other points in the season as well. But at the end of the year, I always do my final grades, not player by player, generally by position. Me and Derek may go through later on another episode and do player by player what we think, because obviously some players on the team are better, and it can kind of skew, especially if you do whole position groups. But I like to do it simply by position group and go from there. It's a little quicker, and it's just more of an overview that you guys may like. It's not as in-depth, but I know me and Derek may do the in-depth one later. But once again, final grades. Let's just start at quarterback. Matt Stafford played, most of the year. I mean, the time he didn't, Chase Daniel came in and looked like, hot garbage, and that's a good thing. He didn't play most of the year, but still, Stafford had a decent year. I mean, he came in with, was it the tweet to Nate Burleson that he's gonna go for MVP, or you're gonna be talking about MVP, however it was. That was nowhere near the case. There was games he really balled out. There's other games that, once again, kind of what Matt Stafford does, kind of leaves you shaking your head. Why do you make throws like that? What you're reading, what you're looking at. But still, I mean, Matt Stafford as a whole, quarterbacks as a whole, I'll give him a B this year. They weren't. There was games they were in because of that, and it's hard when you score a lot of points and then you can't win because your defense is just giving up yards and points like they're giving out candy to kids. So running backs, I mean, DeAndre Swift was hurt a little bit. Adrian Peterson was up and down. Kerryon Johnson, once again, he's probably hey, he's the best blocking running back we got on the team. He did a thing here or there, but nothing great. I think the future's bright with Swift as long as he can stay healthy. You bring Peterson back next year. But like I said, he was real hit or miss. This is going to be another one. I think I'm going to lean towards more of a B- with the running back position. There's obviously some talent there. I think I'm starting to agree with Derek on this, that Kerryon Johnson, I think you need to step your game up a little more. I think you need to work a little harder. Don't get me wrong. I love seeing your Instagram post of your girlfriend. She's smoking. Kudos there, Kerryon Johnson. But still, I think if you want to keep in this league and you actually want to prove yourself that you can ball out, is that you need to step it up a little bit in the offseason. We all saw what DeAndre Swift, his workout, what he does. Adrian Peterson, that's just Adrian Peterson. They still call him all day. That guy can show up. So Kerryon, I think you need to ball out a little more in the offseason and work out if you plan on really being in this league for a long time. So, but still, position group, I'm giving you guys a B-. Wide receivers, Kenny Golladay, the best one on the team, as everybody thought, hurt most of the year. Marvin Jones was really slow at points in this year, and then he really balled out, the last few games of the year. Part of that could be, once again, free agent, looking for a new contract, throw him the ball. I know people laugh at me for saying that, but there's kind of a trend, not just with Marvin Jones, with players. That's what they want. Obviously, it's the last memory is what you have of somebody. And I know teams look at, look at a year, look what he's produced all year, look what he did against this guy. GMs and coaches, that's what they're going to look for. But then they see those numbers later, right? 8 catches, 180 yards, and 2 TDs. Look what this guy can do. Look what his, I don't want to say potential. He's been around for a while, so they know he is what he is. But he can still produce. So, with that being said, if the wide receiving core was healthy all year, Danny Amendola, Quintez Cephas, Marvin Hall was there, and then they ended up cutting him, and they brought in Mohamed Sanu, which I think that was almost kind of a wash right there. I don't know if Mohamed Sanu was an upgrade better, but he was there. I'm going to give the wide receiving core, even for their flashes and glimpses at points, I'm going to give them a C. I think that's what they're worth, and I think that sounds about right for what this team did and what they did with the offense. Tight ends, I didn't include them. I want to grade them separately simply because this one, you could skew this one massively. Obviously, the Lions have a Pro Bowl tight end. Hawkinson took a big step forward. Still not happy with where they drafted him. I don't like tight ends early in the first round, but still, he took that big step everybody was looking for, produced, and made the Pro Bowl. Once again, I'm not one to make a whole lot of stock in a Pro Bowl that somebody makes because big popularity contest, but still, second-year guy, he balled out. Lions looked for him an awful lot. I think at points they really tried to force him the ball, which kind of hindered him and hindered the offense. If you look at certain plays in certain games, I mean, Hawkinson would be covered, and they would try to force it to him, giving him the benefit of the doubt that he'll be able to bring it down, or he'll be able to box out the linebacker or whoever was covering him. But still, very productive year. You really got to like that. But then the outlaws there also, Jesse James. Once again, this guy was on the run most of the year. Every once in a while, he'd show up. He's kind of like a bad penny. It's just like, oh, here. Oh, he's still here. Oh, he's still in the locker room. Jesse James still on the team? Haven't seen him in a while. Well, what's going on? Well, he's here. So, if I'm just going to... It's not... This is almost kind of bell curve-ish for me. I would give Hawkinson, obviously, B+ to A-, probably a B+. But Jesse James, obviously a D. So, if you're going to average that out, you're going to be looking at a C. I mean... So I guess I said I did it as a whole, so I guess I'll have to give the tight ends a C simply because I have to take the good with the bad on that. So, sorry, TJ. I love the way you improved, but still Jesse James nowhere to be found. So I'm gonna give those guys a C. I guess we include Matt Prater on that as well, since he is part of the office and kicks the field goals. Yeah, I would give him. He was, he won Detroit fans the beer or whatever, the contest between him and the Denver kicker. So Detroit whatever gets the beer, I guess is what it is, which is never a bad thing. So I can't complain about that. But yeah, I don't know. There was points. It seemed like other years he would just be money, and then this year you're still kind of shaken when you were wondering if it was going through. Yeah, you got the record for what percentage of over 50+ yard field goals made and stuff, but there was other times it wasn't. Some of his kicks weren't even close. I mean, I'm not talking chip shots. I mean, still decent size, but he wasn't as accurate as he has been in the past. So with Matt Prater this year, I'm going to give him a B-. Some people may think that's a little high. Some people might, hell, with the free beer, people might think that's low. But still, I'm going to give him a B-. You guys, please feel free if you disagree with me, hit me up on Twitter at GriffKidDKC or at Derek Oakrey. He likes to hear from you guys as well. We've all seen his Twitter battles, and especially the ones lately that he's had about Matt Stafford have been very entertaining. Let's flip over to the defense here. I'm going to include the whole defensive line. Once again, I'm going to give this whole defensive line probably. A few guys showed flashes late. Romeo Carr had a good year. 10 sacks. Showed up, put pressure. I don't know if it's a guy that you're going to want to build the whole defensive around. I don't know if he's that guy that really strikes the fear in offensive coordinators that you got to know where Romeo Carr is on the field the whole time. I think that's just a lot of hard work and determination that got him, where he is. Hopefully, once again, Derek pointed out, 2 of the last 3 years he's been this, but okay. I mean, once again, you're taking a small sample size right there. Yeah, he's only been around a few years, but he did have a good year. Then he had a really bad year, and he had a really good year this year. So he's been up and down. He needs to level that off. But even with Romeo Carr there, the way the defensive line showed out this year, getting little to no pressure. Other games, not great in the run at all. Big holes where the interior line's able to work off the interior defensive line and work their way up to the second level to block the linebackers who are just pasted to them. There's not stuff in the run which we were all hoping that Danny Shelton would do. Kevin Strong, whatever, played pretty decent later. Deshaun Hant hurt again. It's just one of those things where Nick Williams, before the season started, whoa, we're ready to turn around the narrative in Detroit. Well, Nick Williams, he barely showed up again. You had one decent year with Chicago, got a payday from Detroit, and then you went back to the shadows. So, D-line, I'm giving you guys D. I mean, right there. Some people may think that's too high. Some people may think it's too low. I don't think so. D sounds about right for me. Linebackers, everybody knows how I feel about linebackers. Jelani Tavai, it only took you 16 games to kind of show up and actually have a decent game. I mean, yeah, you had a decent game against Minnesota, but I'm not saying anything like, oh, look what we have here. No, you're terrible. You suck. You're slow. That whole linebacking core, I said it before, just sweep them out with a broom. Get a bunch of new ones. I know you can't do that. I mean, probably the one you'd want to keep is Jamie Collins. Simply because he seemed to be the best linebacker on the team. I mean, other guys out there, everybody's like, oh, they don't use Jared David right. People are like, oh, if they use Jelani Tavai right, they use Reggie Ragland right. What do you mean, use them right? I mean, what, go out there and stop the run? Cover somebody, on the underneath routes? I mean, is that what you're asking them to do? What is using them right? by like other teams, if they get their hands on, they use them right by not, putting them on the field? Or it's like, well, they need to rush. Jared Davis needs to be more of a rusher. Well, yeah, possibly, but then why do you take him? And if that's not what your defense does, well, then he's just misplaced. I mean, maybe the new coach comes in and says, yeah, we're going to be blitzing, this high percentage of time, and we feel Jared Davis would be the right guy to do that. We think he could get back to the quarterback. He's terrible at everything else. He takes bad angles. He can't cover. But, still, we think he could rush the quarterback. I can't see Jared Davis all of a sudden become Jack Lambert if he goes to, Pittsburgh, or he's Lawrence Taylor if the Giants pick him up. Those guys were good at everything. Jared Davis, God, he's still terrible. Still a bad first-round pick. That whole linebacking core, you guys get a big fat F. If there was something lower than an F, I would give it to you guys. You guys are horrible. You guys were the worst part of that whole defense, and people, well, they got thrown on a lot of the defensive back. I'm sorry, those linebackers couldn't cover a coffee table. They were slow to the ball. They read and react. Derek picks it out, and it makes me laugh how he says how, Jelani Tavai had Velcro on him, and he would just run at the offensive line and just get stuck to somebody. He couldn't get off a block to save his life. I mean, all of a sudden he's got Gorilla Glue on him, and he's stuck to him, within 3 seconds. Like, sorry, I missed the tackle. The whole linebacking core was terrible. Big, slow, plodding linebackers. I don't care what PFF says if somebody gives them a good grade. Oh, Christian Jones is really good at stopping the run on first and second down. I don't give a crap about that. He wasn't that great either. That whole linebacking core, push them out with a broom, get rid of them, start fresh, find somebody. Get people in there that are fast, that can cover, that can read and react a whole lot quicker than anybody on the Lions linebackers this year. Gosh, that just annoyed the crap out of me. Defensive backfield, I put it all in at once. I mean, we all saw it. And those guys either hurt, couldn't stay on the field. Their points were like Mike Ford, the Windsox out there starting games. Daryl Roberts, I mean, he was out there. Okuda got hurt, so that really affected him. When he was out there, he still looked a little like paralysis by analysis, being a rookie out there. And yes, I know the cornerback in the NFL is one of the hardest positions to transition to. I get it. I understand. But still, I mean, there was parts where he just looked, out of place, not knowing what he's doing. He had some flashes, but then once again, there was other times where you saw the back of his jersey an awful lot too. Safeties, mentioned Tracy Walker seemed to not show up. Harmon had an up and down year. There's Will Harris really didn't develop, and he's still looking, not that great. Somebody that you could live without. Let's see, I gave the D-line a D. I gave the linebackers an F. I guess cornerbacks and safeties, I give you guys a D as well. I mean, there's nobody you guys ever really shut down. Wide receivers running wide open. Wide receivers you never even heard of that, didn't have games against anybody else. We're having games against Detroit again. So, it's pretty annoying. The defense as a whole was just awful bad. So, DFD for that defense right there. D-line, linebackers, defensive backs. And then, if I include Prater in the offense, I'll include Fox on the defense as the punter. This guy obviously gets an A. He's a rookie. One of the best punters in the league. Hopefully he keeps it up. So much better than Sam Martin. I know Derek, I know he misses Sam Martin and the way he dressed and everything like that. But still, Fox, you're good. Probably the best part of the defense right there. I'm giving you an A. Hopefully you continue to do what it is that you do. And you're here for a while. The Lions have had good punters in the past. Jim Arnold comes to mind. If anybody remembers the old glory days of the Lions, from the late 80s and 90s, Jim Arnold was a great punter. Fox, you could be another one of those guys as well. So those are my grades for the team right there. May do player by player later, but that's just position group as a whole right there for now. If you disagree with me, or if you have any comments, hit me up on Twitter at GriffKidDKC, or once again, or you feel free to contact at Derek Oakrey as well. He loves to talk Lions football as well. Last thing I want to talk about here before I end the show is the front office rumors. I keep on reading these things. First of all, that the Lions may hire their coach before a GM. Once again, that makes no sense to me, because then once the GM has to work with what's kind of there, and I think the GM should be allowed to pick his own coach. I'm a big believer in that. that they need to be on the same page. And if a GM can pick his own coach, and we all saw it with Bob Quinn, they never should have fired Caldwell. At that point, they're not on the same page, and we know it was a bad hire. We saw what happened when bringing his guy in, Matt Patricia. Oh yeah, he's going to turn this around. We got a whole new, different mindset, different culture. Blah blah blah. We got it. But I still think you need a GM before a head coach, because at this point you're kind of tying the two together. With having them both gone the same year, at least let the GM pick the coach. So have those guys lined up. I mean, on prior shows, we've named a bunch of people that we'd be interested in. I know I told you. I mean, was it Colbert from Pittsburgh is being kind of thrown around now? Schneider from Seattle. Obviously, two organizations that know how to draft well. But a lot of that's coaching as well. They know how to develop the talent that they get. So Schneider, Colbert, either one. I don't know if these are smoke screens, because obviously all the things have been reading is like, hey, hold your horses on Schneider. You might not be ready to leave Seattle, or now people may know, other teams may know it's like, hey, this guy's available, because yeah, he's out there, but Pete Carroll still holds all the power out there in Seattle. So for people like, oh, he's not going to want to leave there. I mean, I don't want to say he's a puppet, but he doesn't have the keys to the car. If you're willing to do that, yeah, do that. But I think this might be one where, I don't know, if other teams know he's available, they might make a play for him as well. This may be one where the Lions got to pay the guy some cash to get him. Same with Colbert, Pittsburgh, same thing. Just they got to be bringing the money. They got to, I don't want to say break the bank, but that's pretty much what they got to do. And please hire the GM before the coach. I want these guys on the same page. I don't want to be reading articles that, oh, they're butting heads over this. And you read articles how Patricia and Quinn butted heads, and that was his guy. I mean, having the coach there, I don't know if that makes the coach feel like, I was here first. They obviously want me more than they want you. So they might listen to me more, even though you're the GM. So that's why I believe you have to get the GM first. So once again, a lot of candidates out there. At one point, it was all like, Thomas Dimitroff, he's the guy. You're reading all this stuff. He's the guy. And then it came out, well, just hold your horses. We're going to go, interview some other people. I mean, I think the list is up to like 12 people now that the Lions have, interviewed for, GM. I have to hand it to them. At least they're doing their due diligence. I have to hand it to, really, I mean, kudos to that. And it looks like Sheila Fordham, she's, really looking to get it turned around. Not too long ago, I read an article about her, how she turned this other stuff around. She's a soccer mom, and once again, great to hear. So it always kind of made me a little skeptical that she would just kind of follow in line with her mom and dad. But I don't know. It does look like they're trying to look, something a little different. I don't want to see, I'm not saying she cares more. Just kind of maybe a different attitude. I always think she kind of wanted this position more so than William Clayford Jr. And I think she's here to show that that's what she's really, really trying to do is, put her own stamp on this and, make people believe that, she's not right in the same boat as, her father and mother. So once again, but I'm just saying, hey, hire the GM before the coach, let the GM pick the coach, at least have him get some information, input on who he would want to be, or he or she would want to be the coach. I'm perfectly fine with that. So, well, once again, if you have any, if you don't like or you like us, give us a subscribe. We love to entertain you guys. Just talk lines. It's a cool thing to do. Hit us up on Twitter. It's always nice to hear from you guys. And as always, I don't have anything else for the show. So once again, drink it in, man. Go Lions.
Pack the bag, start the plane. This game is over. It is over. What a comeback by the Lions.
Drink it in, man.